Now I'm going to show you how to start and stop the JBoss application server. You should have already downloaded the application server and unzipped it to a directory. If you haven't, again, you can download it from jboss.org. There's a link off the front page here for JBoss application server 5, and you click on that and it'll take you to the download page. And in the last video we installed JBoss 501 GA. So you can go ahead and download that and install it. Another thing that you'll need is the Sun JRE or the JDK. You can download that from java.sun.com. Off the main page there's a link that says Java SE. If you click on that, you can find this download tab, and you can either download the JRE or the JDK. With the JRE, you can not do Java development, but JBoss will start with the JRE. It just doesn't come with the compiler and a few other utilities that you might use when you're doing development. If you're planning on doing development, then you can download the JDK, and you'll have access to the Java compiler and other utilities. So once you've downloaded the JDK and run through the installer, you can then set up your Java environment variables. So what you can do is, if you're running on Windows, you can click on the Windows key and the pause break key, and it'll pull up a System Properties dialog. And in that System Properties dialog, you'll see the Advanced tab, and in here you can go into your environment variables, and you'll see if it doesn't exist already, you can add an environment variable called Java Home and point that to the top level directory where you just installed the JRE or the JDK. And you can also, if you want to, set a path variable to point to the bin directory under there if you're going to do development, but that's not required in order to run JBoss. So if you're running on Windows, that's how you do it. If you're running on Unix or Linux, what you'll want to do is you can come in and echo your JBoss home and see what it's already set to. So mine is set up appropriately. But if you want to set it, you can use the export command and say export Java home equals whatever you want to set it to, and then if you echo it again, you'll see that it's changed. So I'll go ahead and export it back to the original value that I had in here, and verify that it's correct. Then, if you want to start the JBoss application server, you have to go into the bin directory of your installation. So here I have /JBoss 501 GA/bin is the directory that I'm currently in. And if you look inside of this directory, you'll see several scripts. There's a run script and a shutdown script, which we'll cover in a second. But the run script is what you want to run. So if you do run.sh if you're in the Unix environment, or just type run.bat if you're in a Windows environment, then you should be able to execute the script. I'm actually in a Windows environment, but I'm using a tool called Cygwin, which is kind of like a Unix installation that runs on top of Windows. It's very handy if you're doing development, or if you're used to working in a Unix type of environment. A lot of very useful utilities and command line tools that you can use. So I highly recommend getting Cygwin and working with it. But if you want to run it, run JBoss, you'll run the run.sh, and you can run that from Cygwin if you're on Windows. So I've already actually started the script, and you'll see that you'll see a bunch of output here from when I started it. I ran run.sh, and you'll notice first that there's some output here. So it'll show me what the JBoss home directory is that I ran from, which Java executable it used to start it, and some command line JVM arguments and class path variables. You'll see a bunch of output here, starting JBoss microcontainer, and some information about the version. And you scroll all the way down here to the bottom, and you'll see a little message here at the bottom. This is kind of the key thing to look for here, is that JBoss it gives you the version number and the build number and all that, and then it tells you that it started. And in this case, it took about a minute to start, so One thing is that you'll notice is JBoss 5 does run a little. It does take a little bit longer to start up than the older JBoss version. So JBoss 4 would start in I think about 20 seconds or so. So this takes a little over a minute, which is a little slow, but I think they're working on optimizing that, and it should hopefully be faster in the next release or two. So that's how you start the JBoss application server. If you want to stop it, there's a couple things you can do. In order to stop it, one, you can just do a Control-C here in the console, and it will stop the application server. It'll run the same shutdown hook that gets executed, the same shutdown code that gets executed as if you had actually run the shutdown script. So if you come back into the bin directory, you can do a shutdown.sh or .bat, and it'll actually require a flag, a dash capital S. If you just run run the shutdown script, you'll see some output there that tells you what the various arguments are that you could provide, but we'll look at shutting down in more detail later on when we're talking about clustering. You can shut down multiple instances that are running on the same server. So shutdown-s will shut down the server. So if I run this and go back to the JBoss console that I was running, you'll see that it starts doing the shutdown in here. It just takes a second sometimes. Yeah. So it starts running the shutdown, and at the end you'll see a nice little message that says that the server was shut down. Another thing you can do is start a different configuration. We talked about configurations a little bit already, but if you want to run, for example, if you want to run the all configuration, you can come back in here and do a run.sh-c and then do all, and it would run the all configuration. So another one is the minimal, which would probably start a lot faster. So if I do run-c minimal, we'll see how long that takes to run. But so the -c option is what you'll use to start the an alternate configuration. So if you create your own configuration under the server directory of the application server, then you'll do run space -c and provide the name of the folder that you created with your own configuration defined in there. So here you'll see that the minimal configuration started, and it took about 13 seconds to start, so it's pretty fast. Another way to verify that the application server is running is by pulling up a web browser and going to localhost:8080. This will pull up the root web application, which is the application that runs with no context path or anything defined after the :8080 portion of the URL. And what you'll see is that the root web application has a link to some documentation, and it also has references to some JBoss management consoles here. There's a Tomcat status, a JMX console, and a JBoss web console. The Tomcat status doesn't provide very much information, and the JBoss web console is kind of an outdated, no longer maintained console. The JMX console is really the meat of what's shipped with the application server. So if you want to click on there and take cruise through there, we'll have another session later on that will go through the JMX console and look at some important things in there. But just by virtue of being able to pull up this root web application, that's another verification that the application server was able to start. And I'll go ahead and just click on the JMX console here so you can see what it looks like, and there's some information here on different beans and services that are running inside of the application server. And again, we'll come back to this later on and take a closer look.